is time to start talking hoops. But the guys that are going to be with us all day have been talking hoops for months. It doesn't stop for them. Welcome in. It is SEC Now. Coverage of men's basketball media days here inside Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. Here's what our first of 5 hours looks like. Moments from now, South Carolina head coach Frank Martin will get everything started for us. Then we'll chat with a couple of LSU Tigers, Antonio Blakeney and Brandon Sampson. Tennessee coach Rick Barnes on set with us to follow. And then we'll get a couple of Gators, Casey Hill and the big man John Egbunu. All day long, 5 hours, we're going to have guest after guest after guest with us as we welcome you inside here, Bridgestone Arena, where we're excited to get things going. Dari Noka here, former Tennessee Volunteer Dane Bradshaw, former Auburn Tiger Damian Fishback, and we fire it up with South Carolina head coach Frank Martin. We're going to get to your team. I saw you walk up here and said, my goodness, Frank, you look great. You've used the offseason to help with personal reasons, I see. Congratulations on this. You look great.
Appreciate it, Dari. I just getting a little tired of being old and heavy, and I thought I'd get back to feeling better about myself.
Well, it's fantastic. You guys you're coming off of a season where you won 25 games. I know you thought, at least for a brief moment, you were going to the NCAA tournament, the NCAA snafu there. You end up short of that. How did that impact what you're telling your team you expect from them right now?
Yeah, I don't know if it was brief. It's 7 months ago, and I still think we were in that thing. But, you know, it's when you have older guys on your team, you feel bad for your seniors. They set a school record for wins, and you finish third in your league, and you can't get into the NCAA tournament. But once you remove from the pain, and the pain exists because you put in the work to go from being the worst team in the league to one of the better teams in the league, then you start getting proud of the work that you've put in, proud of who you are, proud of what you've accomplished. And whether we got in the tournament or not, that does not take away from the growth and the experiences that those kids help us all live as we were one together.
Coach, being a freshman point guard in the SEC and getting the ball in your hands is a tough challenge. It's going to bring some ups and downs, which PJ Dozier had, certainly a lot of ups. How would you assess his freshman year and where he is currently for your team?
Yeah, you know, Dane, everybody wants to always look at stats and this and that. He started at point guard at the third best team in our conference. He couldn't have played very bad, because if your point guard's not any good, your team's not going to be any good. Sure. So he played well. Did he have unbelievable stats? No, but he played well, helped us win a lot of games, and now he's at a place where he understands better. He's so much more prepared for what the season brings. He has a better understanding of what I want, and most important part, and as players, you guys know this, the coach understands him better as a person, because you've lived it with him for a whole year. So I think I'm doing a much better job of helping him prepare for this season.
Coach, you mentioned it. 3 years ago, you're at the bottom of the league. Last year, you finished third. I think that's extremely successful for your team. How have the guys, Dwayne Notice and Dozier, contributed to that in his first year, and of course Sindarius Thornwell?
Yeah, that's those guys are rocks, man. Those guys are unbelievable. Sindarius, I've said this many a times, he signed up as a kid that had options to go to big-time schools in basketball, right, and he signed up to come help us build our program, and Dwayne did too, and those guys have never flinched, and they've helped PJ, and now together I'm extremely excited they're on my team.
You look at one of the things, obviously, we do in our SEC Now every night is we run highlights. And I feel like this season, Chris Silva may give us some. I mean, this is an explosive player. How does your expectation of him in terms of time on the floor and what you need on the floor production-wise differ this year than it did a year ago when he was a freshman?
Yeah, I'll say this. In our practices, he's offensive rebounding better than anyone I've ever had. And this is practice now. And he's had some dunks that I've never coached anyone make in practice. Really? And I've been fortunate. I've been around some good ones over my career. And he's had some unbelievable plays. He understands the game better. He's got to stay out of foul trouble. That was his biggest problem last year. He's so active that he'd commit a lot of silly fouls. He's got to stay out of foul trouble. I think him and PJ, like all sophomores that are good players, take big steps this year for our basketball team and themselves as players.
Coach, sometimes replacing talent can be easier than replacing leadership. How do you fill that void of leadership that Michael Carrera has left behind?
Yeah, you know, Dane, that's everyone always tries to figure out, how do you replace points? As coaches, that's the easy part. You know, how do you replace the people that hold your guys together when the chips are down? But that's the beauty of having consistency. Dwayne and Sindarius and even Justin Mackey to a certain extent, those three guys were around Michael Mendogas, you know, during their whole careers. And they know it's their time now. And they fight every single day to make sure that they've prepared our team for those moments. I have all the confidence in the world in Sindarius and Dwayne.
Young guys coming in. You had a couple of key parts to a good recruiting class. What's the instant impact you might see?
Yeah, all our bigs are so young.
Right.
You know, they're all freshmen, but that's all right. Here's what I'll say, and I'm careful how I say this because I don't want to disrespect our previous bigs.
Sure.
But they were more talented than our previous bigs were as freshmen. Now, can they utilize the season to grow? The advantage that this group has is that they got upperclassmen guards that should be able to control the game.
Does that go into the program that you've built? I would assume you're getting more talented guys now because the profile of South Carolina basketball is higher. What's the biggest way you've seen that change when you step into living rooms as opposed to your first year to right now?
Yeah, I don't speak about myself very often, Dari, but our first year, people would take our calls because of my name. But after that first phone call, we'd never get anywhere else. Now they're taking the phone call because of South Carolina, and that's the biggest difference. Now they're paying attention to our program, and you can get into deeper conversations. You can actually build a relationship and then end up figuring out a way to get some good players.
Good stuff.
Look forward to watching you. Thanks for coming by, starting off our Media Days coverage, Frank. Always good to see you.
I'm just glad when you introduced me, you didn't say, and former, because you said former. I got a little worried up here.
I think you're good. Well, congrats on everything. We look forward to seeing you again. Frank Martin, the first guest of many throughout the day here on SEC Media Days coverage. This is one of the best seasons in school history, a 25-win season. And remember, they started 15-0. Second best start in school history. In fact, they were one of the last two unbeatens in all of Division I basketball. After winning just 15 conference games in Frank Martin's first 3 seasons, Carolina went 11-7 in conference play a year ago. Its best record since the 97-98 season. The Gamecocks again finished with 25 wins, tied for the second most in school history before falling to Georgia Tech in the second round of the NIT. And then Sindarius Thornwell averaged better than 13 points, nearly 5 rebounds, nearly 4 assists a game last season. He needs 222 points to become the 10th player in Gamecock history to score 1,500 points.